Is Michael Brennan going to be a Garrett Kigo, a Matt McCarty, or are we looking at something bigger? Are we looking at a Scotty Scheffler like player? I don't know, but after watching him play one tournament, it's easy to lead to the Scotty Scheffler side.
Settle down, Greg.
I
Hey,
know.
breaks a bit.
But you see what I'm saying here, right, Mark? Like, this is all we've seen from him. Flawless. How does that? He won 8 times in college. How does that project out? It's really hard to tell right now.
Yeah, no doubt. But as I was watching the final round, well, what caught my attention, because I missed you guys on Friday nights, but what caught my attention was when I was scrolling through social media on Saturday, I think it was, maybe, and someone's got a count of the length of the tee shots he's hit. And I did the typical thing. I was like a naysayer going, he's at altitude, the fairways are fast. Yeah, I get this. But it's in the back of my mind. And then when I switch on the coverage and I see this guy on 12 there, just get up there with driver, no fear, just lash one down there short of the green. I was like, So what I do then is I start researching, right? Because there's more than the eye test, as you know. And so I text Billy Ray Brown, who's on the call. And I'm like, Billy Ray, is this guy legit? And Billy Ray fires back right away. He goes, for real. I mean, this guy is so good. And I was like, all right, because Billy Ray Brown's been around the block a few times, won on the tour. He knows the drill. So then I get to thinking as I'm watching him play, because he just seemed like he was so together. And right toward the end, even though you could see some nerves on the final holes there, especially 17 and 18, it just looked like he stayed in routine. He was very professional. He did everything he needed to. And then I was like, gosh, the talent level of the kids coming out right now just seems to get better and better and better. And they're coming out so ready. I mean, back in the day, if you're a young player, back in my day, okay, you're a young player, you get an invite, a sponsor invite, no less. And you get there and you're like, gosh, I'm just lucky to be here. And I'm so happy to be here. And if I make the cut, it's such a win. No, man, not these guys. They believe they're ready. And then they come out here and they play aggressive. They play powerfully. They do all the right stuff. And man, 2 thumbs up for the performance today. So I can see where you're going, Greg. But let's just pump the brakes. This is the first win.
Yes. I probably should have mentioned it. I think I forgot to mention that. Mark is absolutely right. This is not a guy who got in because he's got conditional status and he's whatever in the rankings. It's not he's the 7th alternate. It's not a Monday qualifier. He was in on a sponsor's invite to get into this field, turns it around into a win, and now he is going to skip a tour. More on that in a second, but I do want to mine into what Mark was saying a little bit more, Greg, because I thought I saw it was either on Friday or Saturday on the back 9. He had the longest drive on every hole but one. So it doesn't matter whether it was 400 yards or 350 or 300. Everybody's playing the same hole. He had like the longest drive on every hole on the back 9 except for one. And he did not stray from that strategy. I mean, it was driver everywhere. Rico Hoey, not short by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, he's hitting like irons off the tee. Michael Brennan's like, I'll just rip like driver here. No worries. Like it was full throttle till the end.
Yes, and yes, and you could see it in the stats, right? I mean, he averaged for the week 319 on every tee shot that he hit, and 351 on the measured hits.
Wow,
I was second and third and second respectively. So really impressive driving distance. And then at the same time, why wouldn't you hit that? You've missed 6 fairways the entirety of the week. I know the fairways are wide, but it's still 7th in the field in driving accuracy. So if you have an asset like that in your driver and you can, hit a cruiser at 190 mile an hour ball speed, that's an asset, very much an asset. He's hitting little like low stinger fairway finders with 50-foot apexes that are 187 miles an hour ball speed.
27 feet in the air.
Well, this afternoon, 27 feet. It's crazy. So it's clearly a club he's very comfortable with.
It was so cool because my daughter's in town. We were working on her game the last couple of days, and she's longish for a girl, but she plays on a course now where it is narrow on either side of the fairway, and if you errant with a driver, you're dropping basically. And so she's developing a fairway finder. And so I said to her, grip down the driver, hit a hard low fade shot. This is what you do. So she started doing it. So she's sitting behind me, and I'm watching golf, having dinner. And I say to her, Isabel, look at this. And I rewinded the tape to show her. And she was like, is that 27 feet in the air? I'm like, yeah, because the best she was doing with a driver was like 60 or 70, because that's low, right? And so it was mind numbing. And as I watched it further with the use of the driver, I've heard it said that he says the driver is the favorite club. Now there's one other golfer to now suddenly hop onto Greg's bandwagon with the Scotty Scheffler observation. There's another guy in the world's game who's turned out pretty well. His name's Rory, and his favorite club is the driver too. Hey, Rick, that side eye is bothering me, man. When you look at me with that,
well, I know the angle's different now, so every time I look at you, it looks like I don't believe in what you're saying.
So I mean, if the driver, which is the most volatile club in the bag, save the putter, if that's your favorite club, you're off to a good start on a good wicket.
That's what Scheffler does.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's ever said that it's his favorite, but Scotty hits driver all over the place. He hits it a lot. He's very aggressive in that club selection, and it's one thing to do it because the data says you're better off the closer you get. Right? Data's proven that a lot. But when you're actually in the heat of battle and you're in a competition, is that the shot that you want to hit? You know that it's a shot you should hit, but when it's the shot you want to hit and it's the optimal shot to hit from a statistical perspective, well, that's a pretty potent combination. And that's what we saw with Michael Brennan this week.
You're going to see a lot more of Michael Brennan. Oh, there's Mark.
I got to add to Greg's statement because he is so right. And this, the tightening factor.
Yeah.
I've heard so many data analysts who've never played for anything more than their $5 bet with their buddies on Friday morning say, just hit driver. It's statistically the best play. But when you've got this thing happening and that fairway looks like it's about that big, it's hard to step up there and commit to the driver. I don't care who you are, because there's a rule in life that says speed kills. Now, speed is an advantage if you can keep it inside of the yellow lines on the road or the boundaries of the fairway. But if you're getting up there saying, I'm just hitting driver because data says, and you're nervous as a cat, good luck. It's not that easy.
Not that easy. Not as easy as Michael Brennan made it look. You're going to see a lot more of Michael Brennan. He has now skipped the Korn Ferry Tour, which is that was the plan. 3 wins on PGA Tour Americas, and he would start 2026 on the Korn Ferry, and no longer does that have to happen, Mark, because he has secured that PGA Tour card.
Yeah, and I got to say this, because every week we are moaning from all and sundry about the sponsor invitation. Why are sponsors getting invitations, and why are we getting this? And you got the usual suspects. And look at this. All of a sudden, a sponsor invite has a life-changing week. And he goes from playing the PGA Tour Americas to now being a winner on the PGA Tour because of a sponsor invitation. Now, if these things are well doled out, and most times they're earned, and the people giving out these things aren't just lavish and giving them to everybody, the sponsor invite is a good deal. Stop complaining about it. Let's appreciate the thing for what it is, because this week it's proof that this stuff actually does uncover some incredible stories.
Yeah, and I think there's a good and bad use of sponsors' invites. We've seen the John Deere Classic do a phenomenal job, Greg, of fostering what is basically the next generation, right? You get the Jordan Spieths out there. They come back early and often as they continue to play their career. That is probably... it's not probably, that's the better way, or that's the more acceptable way on golf Twitter to use sponsors invites than, say, Tony Romo or Steph Curry, who I love, but probably do not need to be playing in PGA Tour sanctioned events.
No, this is exactly what they're for. And, I've been thinking about this week as Michael Brennan has been doing this. He won 8 times at Wake Forest. like we mentioned, and you if you watched any of the golf, you certainly heard that on the broadcast. But there are so few college players that we know when before they're PGA Tour players. Like, and there's so many that are so good. What's the difference between getting into Luke Clanton's getting into his PGA Tour events and he's getting sponsor invites and Michael Brennan's not? What's the difference between them? That line is very thin. It's almost nothing. So it's very important for these players to get these opportunities because I think that's what fosters the best possible tour you can have. It's clear that there are players like this all over the place, and the difference between you hearing about them as being an up-and-coming prospect and not hearing about them might be like your performance in the USAM, in one round of golf. That difference is huge from our perspective, but it doesn't necessarily speak to their potential as future PGA Tour stars. So the talent pool is deep, and here's the latest example.
You don't have to look any further than the guy who finished T3, David Ford, another one of those young and up-and-coming PGA Tour great college players right in the mix as well.